Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's Natalie. I have a card for you today using the Floral Garden embossing folder. It's very, very pretty. I have seen this technique done with quite a few things. This is called the Blackout technique. I have done it before and I've shared it over on my Instagram page previously, but we use a bigger embossing folder, a bigger image, shall we say. This time we have a nice little pretty one. Well, they were both pretty, but you know what I mean, a nice little one. I am using the Bubblegum ink. I have Grass and I have also used Lilac. I am going to come back through with the Grape ink, which is a darker purple. I am not worried about the outside. I'm not going to do the whole thing because what I'm going to do is die cut this out. I've got a nesting arch die that, so I don't really need to worry about the outside edges. I just want to make sure there's pretty much color all through that center. I'm making sure it's nice and smooth, and then I'm going to, well, as flat as I can be, very gently rub my black ink over the top. Now, what I haven't said is normally we would have the raised area. This is actually the debossed side of the embossing folder. So all the pretty flowers are pushed upwards, and you can see there we've actually used the back side, the negative side of that embossing folder. So I've die cut that out of the nesting rectangles. I am marking down, giving myself a rough guideline of where I'm going to need to make sure I have enough colored. This way I don't have to worry. I just know it's going to fit my die when it goes through. This is the Lilac, and then we're going to use the bottom with the Grape. So we've got an ombre, a graduated color on our die cut, and this will smooth out. I will go over it a few times just to give it a nice blend, but it will smooth out as it dries as well. It looks a bit of a mess, but you're not going to see it. So we've got the shadow on the top there out of the white, and we're going to run that through the big shot, just using a little bit of washi tape just to make sure they're stuck down and don't move. And there we go. This is a very pretty, it's called the Fancy Script Hello. And there's a thanks, I think. And it's just really pretty. It's just so lovely. So this is going to be adhered down. I'm going to leave it off for the time being, because sometimes I do mount these up. Like I die cut about 3 of the hellos out. I've got a little bit of twine. I'm just playing around trying to figure out how much I wanted to leave it in the background. I actually quite like that, but we are going to just have a little bit down the bottom. I didn't like it on the day, but now I quite like it. You know what I mean? As we all sort of change our mind. I would still have it down the bottom, and you'll see that very shortly if I did this card over, but I do actually quite like it. But I felt that it took a little bit away. We did all this pretty coloring and embossing in the background. Sometimes you do find that the black ink pad will go like in the center of the flowers. If you can see some of the center of the flowers there on the left hand side, you actually can see a little bit of dark around the center of the flower. This is just going to give it a nice little bit. Don't stress about that because it sort of frames it a bit more. And I've done, as I said, I think I've only actually done one. I've done one other card with this, and it's a no stress situation. Because we don't want to stress. With card making, we just want to enjoy a little bit of foam, well, quite a bit of foam tape, shall we say. But this is going to give it a nice little bit of support. And the twine, she's not moving at all. going to place that off to the side a little bit, just making sure he's nice and flat. And it's a really pretty technique, so give it a try. And feel free to tag me at Natalie Perry Walsh on Instagram. I would love to see your designs if you come up and you try this technique. It's just, it looks like if you come over from my channel, you know that I like things that just look like a hot mess until, like, masking. Masking looks like a hot mess until you take the mask off and it's just like the magic happens. This is the same thing. It looks a mess while you're colouring in all the little flowers or the bigger flowers or whatever you're colouring, but then you add the black over the top and it's just like finishes all, and it's just so pretty. So feel free to tag me in that. I'd love to see your designs. Adhered down my hello, I am going to alter this a little bit because I decided I needed a little bit more foam, which means just gently pull that up. I have ripped a little bit of the cardstock, but it's going to be under the hello, so it's all good. So we've got double foam on the left hand side and just a bit of foam, one layer on the rest of it, leaving a good chunk of it down the bottom open. I will go back through and add a little bit to support my swoopy bit. Let's just call it the swoopy bit. Down the bottom of my L there, I'm going to need a little bit of support, and that's going to sit so much better. Just fight with this little bit of foam for a minute while I get him positioned. The last thing I'm going to do is using a little bit of liquid sparkle. This is a little bottle, and I'll put it into, once I play around with my hello, put it into a little container, a little tray, and use a paintbrush to, got to make sure you give it a really good shake too. Using a paintbrush, and I'm just going to dab it in the very center. What I found, it really gives it, like, I've gone through and added diamantes, you know, a little bit of bling in the middle of my flowers. It looks really, honestly, it looks really raised, and it's not, but that is all in between each of my little flowers. The liquid sparkle is really pretty. So we add in all those little dots. It didn't take very long. Sorry, I lied. The last thing I'm going to do is actually put a little bit of bling, because even though I've put a bit of bling, it just needed a little tiny bit more just to finish that all off with a little clear crystal mix. And that pretty much is my card. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. It really helps the channel to grow. There's a lot of people that view videos that aren't subscribed, so really helpful if you can hit that subscribe. That's it from me. Take care. I will talk to you very soon. Bye.